Hello and welcome to today's episode of Authentic Achievements, where it's my absolute privilege to be joined by the fabulous Bill Himmelstein. Bill, welcome.
Thank you, Kim Adele. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Very excited.
Oh, I'm so excited. And I know we can get really stuck into conversations really quickly, can't we? So before we do that, let me share with those listening and watching today a little bit more about you. So Bill is the founder, CEO, and managing broker of Tenant Advisory Group, LLC. Bill has been a tenant representative broker for over 22 years and started Tenant Advisory Group in July 2008 after gaining experience at several of the major commercial real estate agents in Chicago. Bill has completed over $1 billion in commercial transactions with his typical clients, including professional service firms, technology-based businesses, manufacturers, and private practice physicians. Bill has been a guest professor at UIC, DePaul, and Columbia College. He's spoken in front of crowds as large as 5,000 people. He's spoken on behalf of the city of Chicago, as well as to the American Bar Association. Bill hosted a digital real estate show through Advisor TV and was a founding member of both the Coleman Circle for Entrepreneurs and the Chicago Leadership Alliance. Bill is part of a team developing over 150 million of hotels across the country. He's also invested in and served on the advisory board of over a dozen early-stage technology-based businesses. Bill prides himself on acting with a high level of integrity, accountability, responsiveness, and determination in achieving the best possible deal terms for all of his clients. In 2017, Bill was named one of the most influential commercial real estate brokers in Chicago by Crain's. And Bill's expert advice and market knowledge has also been featured in dozens of news articles, podcasts, and radio interviews. Bill graduated from Washington University in St. Louis with a BSBA in marketing and management and a minor in psychology. And he's the proud husband and father of 2 boys. I mean, Bill, I don't even know where to start with all of that. I mean, what an amazing journey that you've been on, and what from all those different things, £1 billion, in commercial transactions, being a guest professor, hosting a real estate show. I mean, you've done so many different things, so many iterations, albeit the broad knowledge that you've got is really in that brokering. Could you bring that to life a little bit more for us?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, it all sounds, pretty impressive, but individually, coming from my perspective, it's all just kind of a byproduct of working hard, treating people with respect, and doing what you're passionate about. And then the accolades tend to follow when you're doing something that you love, right? My father always taught me, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And that's kind of what I feel like. It's wonderful to have that list of accolades and awards, but at the end of the day, we're all just people. Some of us are parents, are fortunate enough to be parents, and we're just trying to, teach our kids that hard work and being honest and doing the right thing, that's what pays off in the end.
Oh, I love that. I love that whole piece around that acknowledgement and that recognition that actually we're all people. I was talking to a client the other day. I was like, "Oh, Kim, business is hard." And I'm like, "Okay, so talk to me about that." And he went, "I've got suppliers," and I was like, "They're people. I've got business partners, they're people, and I've got clients, people. I've got colleagues, people." He was like, "Regulators, but even regulators are people." I said, "But what you're in is the people process. Is you get good at people, and the rest comes easy." And it strikes me from all of our conversations, and including how you just pulled that together, that's the part you've really highlight. That piece around how do we do what's right for the person that I'm interacting with, whether that's in business, whether that's in real life, non-business, whether that's in home life. It's that real acknowledgement of the human to human interaction. Would that be fair?
Oh, you're spot on. I mean, that's really what it all comes down to. And again, learning lessons from my parents, they taught me to never burn a bridge, treat everybody with respect. Just simple things about, even the golden rule, do unto others as you would like done unto you. And just living by those principles and really working hard to set a good example for my children and make my parents proud of me, make my wife proud of me. That's really what it all comes down to. And you're spot on. A joke was reminded when you were talking about, it's always about the people. Same thing about parenting. They were asking a parent, what's the hardest thing about being a parent? And they said, I think it's really the children. That's the toughest part about being a parent. But same thing about a business owner. What's the hardest thing about being a business owner? It's the people. And I think if you can dedicate yourself to treating all those people from top to bottom, suppliers, partners, vendors, employees, clients, anybody it might be, if you can treat them with respect, be responsive, do what you say you're going to do, be honest, things tend to fall into the right places.
Oh, I love that. And it so resonates. So I often say that my greatest lesson in leadership was when I was a hairdresser. Because when I was hairdressing, they taught you to listen, to understand what was really important to the person, and then do your best to help them to achieve it, and to have them leave you feeling the very best version of themselves. And it's like, if you can do that, but actually, if you can do that with your people, or you can do that with your clients, or you can do it wherever you put that, if you can follow those principles of what's really important to them, how do I help them to achieve it? And can I make sure that they leave this interaction feeling an increase, feeling better, feeling that, I often used to say the amount of times in corporate life that I got to the end of a meeting and went, that was a waste of makeup. That I've always said in life, I don't want anybody to leave an interaction with me and go, that was a waste of makeup. It's like, I want them to feel it was worth the engagement and the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big saying about leadership is people aren't going to necessarily remember what you did or what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's an incredibly important part. And I love how you articulated, leave people feeling like the best version of themselves. And I think you, as that person that can help people feel that way, good things will happen. You'll go far.
And I think that's, for me, from all of our conversations, that's the crux of what you're doing as well. And that for me is what makes you unique in the people that I've met doing the kind of things that you're doing, because you acknowledge, although you could look at what you do and go, well, you're in a property business, so you're in a bricks and mortar piece, and very often that's kind of the silo perhaps that they would focus on, but actually you're not in that. Yes, you are. I mean, I know that is what you do, but actually you're in the people element of the impact on the individuals and the people you lead of the property choices you make. So how do you help people to recognize that those two are not mutually exclusive, that they do actually need to come together and be thought of as one?
Fabulous question. I understand, it's not lost on me that my business and my industry, we are compensated on a transactional basis. So we get compensated when a transaction is completed. However, I have always had the philosophy and always been driven to make it more of a relationship-based business. And so the focus for me is not, tell me about your real estate needs. Where do you have space issues that I can support you with? But it's more about, and this goes back to something you just said about the listening. I like to say, tell me about your business. What's working? What challenges are you facing? And I've found that if I can strive to not necessarily solve their problems, but bring value, support the growth of their business, help them achieve their goals, whatever those may be, then my relationship with that person is going to deepen. And odds are, whatever it is I'm selling, when that ticket comes up, they're going to give me a call. And so my approach has not been based upon real estate. While even though that's my core expertise, I've always set out to serve as a resource and be a partner, not a vendor to my clients and those in my network.
I love that, because it's true, isn't it? We so often, I think when we go to network or anything like that, everyone's horrified. And we're all horrified because we're worried that we're going to get sold to. Nobody wants to be sold to. We want to buy. We love to buy as human beings. It's one of our favorite things to do. But the difference between being sold to and being a buyer is who felt the one that was in control of that. If I'm buying something, it's because I'm in control and I get the decisioning points. If somebody sells me something, then actually it feels uncomfortable, and you feel cheated a little bit, don't you?
Oh, it's spot on. Yeah, it's I certainly don't want to be sold to. It just feels icky, and something's off. It's not right. So why would, again, it comes back to the do unto others. Why would I do that to others if I don't like it when it's done to me?
It's so true. I mean, my dad, bless him, was a double glazing salesman, and they have a certain reputation. But he always said to us from a very young age, he said, never sell to somebody, always let them buy. Because if the minute you sell to them, they will become your worst customer ever, because they're already feeling disgruntled because they weren't in control of kind of what was going on. And actually, your sole job is to listen. And to listen to what, as you've just said, to listen to, tell me about your business, tell me what's going on in it. One, because I'm interested, because isn't it great when people share a story about something they're so passionate about? But two, I may be able to give you some value, and that might just be connecting you with the right person. That doesn't necessarily mean say my value is going to be give you a service I offer. And I love that that's what you do in your approach, is actually you look to be of value, not to look to become their partner in a transaction per se.
Absolutely. And it can be very counterintuitive, because what we learn growing up and in school, and usually our first couple of jobs out of school, is, we have a goal to reach and we got to get there. So go out and sell and try and get to your goal, achieve your goal. And it's counterintuitive not to try and push people so I can hit my numbers, but rather to just serve as a resource, serve as a trusted advisor that can be there to listen, to offer encouragement, to make connections, to open doors, and just be someone that they can rely on, whatever it might be. So when, my expertise does come up, I got an email first day back in the office for the new year, from somebody I'd been building a relationship with. And he said, Bill, coming into this new year, I've been thinking about you. We have wanted to work with you for so long, and we think this might be the year. Now I've got clients coming to me saying how excited they are, and all they want to do is have an opportunity for me. I mean, what a blessing that is, right? To have your clients knocking on your door saying, I finally might have a chance to give you some business. And that's what he's excited about. Yeah. So that was just such a amazing message to receive. And I told him how uplifting it was and how wonderful of a way to start the new year. Just that there's people out there who they want the ability to work with me, but unless they have a need for leasing, buying, or selling commercial real estate, we're not going to work in that capacity. So it was really humbling to receive that. And just, it let me know that I feel that I'm on the right path, right? It's the same thing with the awards and the accolades and the podcast. No one sets out to be mediocre, right? What I set out was to deliver an exceptional service to my clients, and all the hardware and the recognition. To me, that's just confirmation that I'm on the right path. I'm doing the right things, and I'm treating people in the way that we set out to do.
I mean, what an amazing principle and way of working. Because I think it is, if you set out in that place of wanting to serve and be of value, then people do, want to be able to work with you and reciprocate. And it is, it's lovely when they're able to, isn't it? I had a friend of mine once, because I think we're similar, and I just want to be of value to people. And I happened to come across a lot of people that I was chatting to that needed his service. And I was like, oh, I know somebody who's great who does this. Lovely guy. Let me introduce you. And I was saying to me at one point, I feel really bad, Kim. You've got me 9 clients and I haven't got you any. And I was like, that's not how it works, Lovey. I said, I happened to find 9 people who I wanted to add value to, who had a need for your service. And I know how good you are. So all I did was connect them up, because it allows me to tick my box of, did I add value to those people? I didn't put it down on a tally chart somewhere to go, I've got your 9.
It's 9 to 1. We got to.
Expecting the 9 to come back. I said, and if you think that that's how I think, then we still need to work on understanding our relationship. And he laughed. He went, no, he said, I knew. He said, I just feel. I went, it doesn't go that way. I said, sometimes you might not get me anybody, but that's not the point. The point is I was able to help 9 people. And therefore I achieved my goal. And it sounds like that's how your ethos is also about. How do we leave people with that feeling of increase, with that feeling that you were their trusted advisor, you were somebody that, we know it's lonely at the top, but it's not quiet, is it? Everybody wants a bit of you. So where do you go to get that sounding board? And you're being that for your connections.
Absolutely. No, I try that. And I think what you're referencing is something we both share, which is a unique quality. I call it a growth mindset. Right? The opposite of that is a fixed mindset where you try to protect your relationships. You don't want to introduce your contacts to others because they might fail. Whereas you and I want to introduce our relationships to other successful service providers because it could be best for both parties. Yeah. It could uplift everybody. And I think that's kind of where that growth mindset comes into play about, look, I may not be able to help you today with any commercial real estate needs, but what I can do is support your business in many other ways. It's not going to be me personally, but it's going to be the 2.5 decades I've spent meeting exceptional people like yourself and others, and having those resources to extend to your clients and contacts. To me, that is a gift. That is a way of supporting your clients 100%.
Oh, I so agree with that, because I think it's, for me, that's the gift, is that when you get to be able to connect people up. And I remember, because we have those moments, don't we, where we find ourselves doubting and looking at those. And I remember when I first went on my own, going to a networking group and sitting in the car, and it was the first one I'd done on my own. So first time out of corporate, where I'd been able to rely on the company name and the big title that I had. So people wanted to talk to you. And now you're there on your own and you're like, no one's going to want to say anything. And I was having this word with myself in the car park going, I can't do this. Don't be so ridiculous. Of course you can. There's only going to be 20 people in there. It's going to be a couple of hours of your life and you're not going to die. So just get over it and go in. And the very first person I met in this Indian restaurant in an industrial estate in Sleaford, of all places, turns out to be somebody who lived 3 streets away from me. And his daughter had just gone into remission for a really rare type of bone cancer. And I remember saying to him, I said, I don't know if it would be helpful, but I happen to know Mark Woods, who's the Paralympic gold medalist, who lost his leg at 17 to the exact same cancer. Would it help you if I connected you so he can talk you through his journey? And he's gone on to do amazing things, be an Olympic gold medalist. He's a motivational speaker, and he's an amazing guy. And he was like, you do that? And I went, probably why I'm in an Indian restaurant in an industrial estate in Sleaford. The universe puts us here for a reason. We've just got to be open to understanding what the reason is and the connection.
Exactly.
And we did, and we connected them up, and they went on to do some fundraising together for the charity. But I just think if you're present in the moment, and that's what I get from you, is that in every moment you're really present and you're really thinking about, how do I leave this moment with that feeling of increase for the other person? So how do you help people to move to that place of thinking? Because it's not, as you say, it's not the way we were brought up when we got our first job. It was like, here's your goal, and if you don't hit your goal,
right,
you're going to have a difficult conversation. But there's more than one way to hit the goal, isn't there?
No, absolutely. And I it's certainly not intuitive to want to support others. I think one of the nice things about religion in general is that is the underlying message of most religions that I'm aware of, is support those around you, care for those around you as if, like you care for yourself. And I think if we all truly had that mentality, we'd be living in a much different society. So it's very unique to come across folks that have that giver's gain mentality, that glass is half full, the growth mindset. And for me, I think the way that I guess try to impart that on others is lead by example. And I can't tell you how many times I get the question, well, why would you introduce me to that potential client for me? Or why would you help me solve this problem in my business? And I say, look, it's not just out of the goodness of my heart. I mean, it makes me feel really good. I like what I see when I look in the mirror, when I'm supporting others and helping my community. Ultimately, I'm trying to grow a business like any other business owner. I have just found that the path for me that I enjoy the most, right, that I get the most out of for myself, it revolves around supporting others and supporting my community. So, not everybody's cut from a similar jib. We all know a lot of folks that, they'll step on their own mother's throat to make more money, or to get the next deal, or to get the promotion. And for all that my mother has done for me, that's the last thing I want to do. I will give up the deal so my mother is okay. I will pass on the promotion so that my mother is okay. And I think part of it is a mentality, but it can be learned. I think there's a tremendous amount of value in going through life with the reputation of, oh, here's a guy that can help you. Here's a woman that can be supportive of you. And, it's just, God has a mysterious way of doing things. And I think that the more we give and put out there, the more we get. That's been my experience.
I couldn't agree more. And I think, it is the more we give, the more we receive, and not always in that linear space. And I think, if life's taught me anything, is that it only really makes sense in the rearview mirror. At the time, you kind of, I'm not really sure why this is going the way it's going, but I'm just going to be present. And then you look back and you go, right. So that's why I met that person, or that's why I had that experience, or that's why I was given that opportunity to develop. You've talked a lot about that kind of growth mindset, and it reminds me of two pieces of advice that I was given by my grandparents. And I think between them, they pretty much summed up life. So my nan said, make every day a school day. In every day, learn something new. And my granddad said, live each day as if it's your last, and one day you'll be right. I think he meant by that, don't keep putting off. Don't go, well, I'll do that tomorrow. Tomorrow is when I'm going to suddenly start to think different or focus differently. And I've tried really hard to kind of live by those. And it sounds like actually that's what you're doing too, which is that whole make sure you keep growing, you keep learning, you keep evolving, because the world's evolving, and take action. Because I think often we do one and not the other. But if we don't, if we learn loads of things but don't do anything with it, we kind of almost may as well have not learned it.
Yeah, no, spot on. I mean, I do have a zest for learning, and I enjoy growing and evolving and learning as much as I can. I think once we stop, like you said, the world keeps moving forward. And if we stop, we're going to be passed up. And it's not that I don't keep going because I need that recognition and the dopamine of here's an award or here's a podcast. That's all well and good. But, again, it comes back to, I want to set a good example for my children. And I want my wife and my parents to be proud. I want them to say, boy, I raised, what a great boy I raised. Look at him now. And for my wife to say, boy, I sure made a good decision marrying this young man. And that's really what motivates me is just trying to set a good example. And because I was fortunate to have that good example. And it's not lost on me that not everybody is fortunate enough to have loving parents and great examples to follow. So I was very blessed growing up in Kansas City, that my parents were hardworking, they were honest, they treated people with respect, they were always there for my brother and I. just amazing people. And that's really what's helped kind of show me that path, right? So I was just fortunate to be taught by some wonderfully caring and compassionate parents.
Which is amazing. But what's even more amazing is that that's actually inspired you to follow their example, and to want to do the same, to leave that same legacy. One of the things I look at with Scarlett is, as kids, we're naturally curious, and we naturally believe. She thinks, bless her, that we're twins. We're the oddest twins. You've met her, Bill. We're the oddest twins since Schwarzenegger and DeVito. I'm 51, she's 8. But in her head, we are one and the same. But she looks at the world with curiosity and with a desire to leave things better. And for me, that's the gift. If you can give people that point of saying, actually, just be curious. What am I going to learn from you? How might I be able to help you? How might you be able to help me? But actually, we're just interested and we're intrigued. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I set up this podcast, really, was to share other people's stories so that we could be more curious and learn things. And you've already shared so much amazing stuff. But if you could go back and give your younger self a piece of advice, Bill, what would it be?
Yeah, I love that question. And lately what I've been thinking about a lot of, if I was able to go back and do it all over again, it would be to treat your time as if it's incredibly valuable. And what I mean by that, it can go a lot of different directions, but treating your time as if it's really valuable allows you to make decisions based upon the scarcity of time that you have, meaning you're going to value what you're doing at any given moment, right? Especially, it's really easy to do as a parent because we want nothing more than to spend more time with our children. So how are we going to make the best use of our time when we're not with our children? And I know that if I could go back and find my, I don't know what, a 21-year-old self getting ready to start in the business world, I thought I was doing the right thing by taking any and every meeting. Anybody that wanted to meet with me, I took that meeting. And looking back on it, I realized that I wasn't valuing my time like I should have. I wasn't protecting my time and being as, I guess, efficient and as productive as I possibly could. And I know that if I could go back 25 years and tell myself to be a bit more protective and treat my time as if it was far more valuable than I was treating it back then, goodness knows how things would be different. But I know they would be, because it was really once I had my first child 12 years ago, and you think at the time before you have children, everybody thinks they're busy, right? Oh, I'm so busy, I could not possibly fit anything else in here. Now you add the most important thing in your entire life, and so something else is going to have to give. It really teaches you how to be more efficient, more productive, do more with less time. And I think if I could go back and say, okay, let's protect my time a bit more, that would probably be the best advice I could give myself, my younger self.
Amazing. That's such great advice, isn't it? Because I think we fall into that trap of going, well, actually, I should take on everything. And yet the one thing that we can't buy more of, no matter how rich we become, we can't buy more time. And as a parent, it really hits home, doesn't it? Somebody said to me the other day, as a parent, the days are long, but the years are short. And I was like, oh my God, that's something so well.
I like that.
Sometimes the days are long, but oh my God, blink of an eye and a year has disappeared from us. So being more intentional with our time and looking at it and saying, actually, is this the best use of my time? Is this how I'd want to spend? If this were, I often, and I've got an hourglass here, and I sometimes will turn it over just to be really intentional in that hour, to go, if this were my last hour on earth, is this what I want to be doing? Is this where I choose to invest that commodity that I can't buy more of. And it really helped me to start to make better boundaries, around, yes, I want to help everybody, but equally I want to ensure that I'm investing. And I love when you said, if you're not with your children, that actually, how do you make the best use of that time not with them? Bill, I could literally chat to you all day, but I'm conscious we're already almost, just gone time. But can you tell the people listening and watching, how can they get in touch with you and who do you help?
Sure. No, thank you. So we help businesses with their commercial real estate needs, whether it's office, industrial, warehouse, or medical. And we help them on leasing, buying, or selling. And the best way to reach out to us is our website, which is www.tagcommercialbroker.com. My direct email is bill@tagcommercialbroker.com. And we're always happy to answer questions and connect with good people. And if there's something we can do, we're happy to do it. And if not, we'll try and get you in the hands of someone that can be effective.
Oh, amazing. And Bill, all of those details will be in the show notes below. So if you're listening and watching and you didn't have time to scribble that down, please don't worry. Just look in the show notes and that's where they'll be. And I'm right on so, Bill, in saying that you help people globally. So although we've talked about the fact that you're based in Chicago, you're not tethered to just to Chicago for the people you help, are you?
That's correct. We do all the work in the United States, and we have wonderful partners all over the globe. Just exceptional human beings doing terrific work all over the world. So yes, we are able to support people anywhere they may have a need.
Amazing. Well, they say like-minded people attract like-minded people. So I'm not surprised that you've got a partner group of people that have got the same ethics and values as you. Bill, it's been a joy as always. Thank you so very much for coming and sharing your precious time with me.
Been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Bless you. And to everybody listening and watching, I hope you found this as interesting, inspiring, and thought-provoking as I have. And until next time, take care.